These are the 5 hardest parts about becoming a wedding photographer. If you're early in your career, these are some hurdles that you might encounter and how to overcome them.
You're such a smoke show, baby, when you burn low, weaving through my mind like a 70s comedian. You're such a smoke show, I can't seem to keep
I'm Logan, owner of Graham Media. We're a wedding photography and videography company, and we specialize in traditional, outdoor, and elopement style weddings. Now, when you're first getting started in your wedding career, there's a lot of hurdles to overcome. I'm going to teach you the 5 most difficult things when you're starting to shoot weddings, and a couple ways that you can overcome those. First and foremost, booking clients. Now, it's hard to find clients when you're first getting started out. You don't have a portfolio, you've never shot a wedding. Who's going to take the risk on you? There's going to be people out there that are looking for cheap or budget-friendly photographers. Offer your services to them. Don't be afraid to reach out. The worst that they can do is say no. And if they say yes, be prepared. Now, going into your first wedding, you don't want to completely bomb it. Some things that I can recommend are scouting out the location, learning to shoot flash photography to combat non-ideal lighting situations, and just being friendly. I have booked so many weddings off of my personality alone because I'm willing to talk to people and I'm willing to get in their face with the camera. If you need to be a fly on the wall, take a few steps back. If you need to be up there and personal, do that. Read the room and figure out how to get that client to pull the trigger on booking you. Number 2, offer your services to other photographers. There are photographers out there that will take a chance on you, especially if you have some things in your portfolio. We have worked with other photographers to help teach them and consult with them about getting started in not only the wedding industry, but in photography in general. Now, when I got started, I had messaged quite a few photographers in my local area and offered up, hey, can I second shoot for you? Can I come help out at a wedding? Even if it's as a third shooter, I just want to learn. And I got shot down every single time. But it gave me a chance to not only talk to people, but also to take a few seconds to introduce myself into the photography community. Lighting. Lighting can be one of the biggest failure points for new photographers. And different areas are going to have different types of lighting. Whether it's the white balance, the brightness, or just overall not good lighting. Learning to shoot flash is going to be a big help whenever you get into reception areas, but also carrying things with you like ND filters and knowing how to adjust for high noon lighting versus moodier overcast lighting. Learning lighting is going to be the biggest help to make your images look the way that you want them to and to create a consistent looking image throughout the whole wedding day. And to piggyback on that, learn how much you can push your camera. Different cameras can hold up at different ISOs. I know my R6, I can push to 12,800 ISO and still get a decently clean image out of it. My R5, on the other hand, it has to be a little bit lower. So learning your camera and where the grain and noise are going to induce at, that is a big help, and not pushing past that. Even setting hard limits on your camera might force you to take better images. Redundancy. Redundancy on everything. On your cameras and on your backups. More importantly, on your cameras, if you have dual SD card slots, write to both of those. Make sure that you have 2 high quality, reliable SD cards so there's no risk of you losing anything from the wedding day. Now, a few good SD card brands out there are SanDisk, Lexar, and ProGrade. These are 3 brands that I always trust and put in all of my professional cameras. And again, dual writing to both SD cards is paramount to making sure that you keep everything that you shot throughout the day. Now, redundancy in backing up isn't as important as redundancy in shooting, but I highly recommend having 2 places that you back up. With the offerings of all the cloud services out there like iCloud, Google Drive, and OneDrive, that is a good place to start with your backups. But having hard storage is also a great idea, so you can directly pull from it and not worry about losing those ever or running out of storage. Now, personally, I quote in my contracts that I keep things for 7 years, but realistically, I don't ever get rid of them, just in case. You never know. But the way that I do this is I back up to Google Drive as soon as I finish a wedding and export the JPEGs, and then I export all of my RAWs onto hard storage. So I have a 20 terabyte hard drive that I export out to. At the end of the year, I will label that hard drive, what year and what months it contains, and then if I ever need to pull from it, all I need is to pull the contract and the wedding date, and I can find all of my clients' images. If I need to re-edit them, there's the possibility of that too. It helps build your portfolio and keep a consistent look across the board with all your photos. But if by chance a client loses their photos or has something happen, it gives you the opportunity to go back and reimagine that wedding. So I will store not only the RAWs, but also the JPEGs. And the biggest piece of advice that I can give you when you're shooting weddings is brace for the long haul. It is not a fast come up. It has taken me 3 years to get consistent clients and be at a point where I'm making money off of this business. So with that being said, don't get discouraged if in your first few years you're not booking as much as you'd like to or not making as much money as you'd like to. Weddings can be kind of all over the place. I have seen years where I book a year and a half to 2 years out, and I have seen years where I book 8 months to 10 months out. I've even booked weddings last minute, like 2 weeks out for videography. Videography is kind of a second point for a lot of wedding couples, and it doesn't always fit the budget, but if it does, or it just so happens to last minute, they will book a videographer or a better photographer later than they maybe planned. So keeping yourself prepared to do this for a long time and maybe not be profitable in the first year or two is a good idea. You're going to be investing in gear. Cameras are expensive, laptops are expensive, and all of the services that you need to provide your clients with a great experience, such as your photo delivery, your storage, all of your backups, and making sure that you have lenses that are capable while you're out there shooting a wedding. Those are all things to factor in. It's not cheap to get started into the wedding industry, but I will say this, weddings are my absolute favorite thing to do. I love to shoot weddings, I love the people that I meet, and I love the chaos of a wedding day. So be prepared, be ready, make sure that your gear is all clean, make sure that you have dual SD card slots and you're building in redundancy, not for sake of yourself, but for sake of your clients. And create the best client experience that you can. That's going to help you come up in this wedding industry, not only quick, but successfully. And successfulness and longevity are two of the most important things when it comes to any photography career. Finally, make sure you have things in place to protect yourself and protect your clients. Things like contracts and invoices, as well as insurance. Insurance is something that you should invest in pretty early on, if not right off the bat, as soon as you start charging for weddings or for portrait sessions even. And then contracts are going to build not only a rapport with your client, but also lay down the expectations. Do you plan on being able to get things done in 6 to 8 weeks, or is it going to be 10 to 12? Turnaround times are something that should be stated, but not a hard stop deadline, just in case things happen. People have health issues and emergencies happen. So give your client an idea of when you'll be turning things around, but don't lock yourself into that if something would happen. On top of that, lay out the expectations of what you're going to provide. Will you be providing any prints, any USBs or flash drives with your packages? Will you have a second shooter? Do you expect to be fed when you're at the wedding? Which you should be if you're there for anything more than 4 hours. These are all things that are important to include in your contracts when you're writing them up. Now, when you're first getting started, I don't know that everyone has the budget to afford a lawyer to specifically write a contract, but there are plenty of services out there that can write basic contracts for you, and you can include what you want into them. So that is the 5 hardest hurdles to overcome when you become a wedding photographer. When you're first getting started, again, keep your head up, shoot as many photos as you can, and get good. Be prepared for every situation because they will happen. And some little tips that I like are, again, carrying a flash with me, sometimes carrying constant lights because there are people that can have seizures if they have a flash. Little things like keeping a crochet hook with me so I can get brides into dresses if all of their bridesmaids have fingernails. These are all things that you learn the more and more that you're in the wedding industry and that can be super helpful to providing a great client experience. Again, my name's Logan. If you got something from this, hit the like and the subscribe button. It helps the channel grow, and we will see you on the next one.